Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rob's Little Blue Book. And tonight is going to be relatively, hey Paul, relatively simple tonight, I think. I want to talk about a couple things before we get started, and I had a couple of thoughts of the week or whatever that I want to go over. And I have a dish that kind of ties them together. It's also one that I've been meaning to get to because we're doing pasta alla Gricia tonight. We've done carbonara, we have done cacio e pepe, and we have done amatriciana. And cacio e pepe, amatriciana, and alla Gricia are kind of like the holy trinity of sort of the OG Italian pastas. And carbonara came a little bit later. Carbonara came a lot later, actually. And it's a fantastic dish, too. So, is it long on camera? Yeah, I need to get it cut. Anyway, so the first thing I want to talk about is, I guess, a little bit about privilege, because I was thinking, and a couple of people made comments, especially Serena, that, I'm always throwing shade at supermarkets, and I will continue to do so, for a whole bunch of reasons, most of which are, they're not good places to go to buy groceries or anything of quality. However, it doesn't change the fact that we all, I know everybody watching, we all live in incredible privilege, and we can go to St. Lawrence Market, which is one of the top 25 markets in the world, and get the very, very best ingredients. But not everybody can do that, and let's face it, if the supermarket is the only place you can get to, or it's close by and you can't make a long trip to a specialty store, then by all means, go to the supermarket. You do what you need to do to make the food that you want to make. Ingredients are always something that you should shop carefully for and buy the best you can. But having said that, you buy the best ingredients that you can. You don't need to go crazy on all these ingredients. There are so many fantastic dishes you can make, tonight's one included, that don't cost a lot of money. They don't require super extravagant things that you need to go to specialty stores to get. Everything, except for maybe the guanciale tonight, everything you can get here, obviously you can get pretty much anywhere. Exactly. Hey, Nick. So, yeah, I kind of want to recognize that, and I'm not going to stop slagging on supermarkets and being opinionated and critical, because I like to cook a certain way, and I don't think it's the right way, I don't think it's the only way, but it works for me, and I like doing it that way. And then the other thing too is, we've had a couple of conversations about home cooking versus cooking in a restaurant, and none of us are working the line in a restaurant, so we don't have to rush. We can take our time cooking. Having said that, you can also make, the dish we're going to make tonight, and I'm going to go through the. I know, I love Farm Boy. Okay, so let's back up a little bit about supermarkets. Farm Boy doesn't count. I mean, I know it's owned by Sobeys, and it is a supermarket, but I find that Farm Boy is sort of like a curated supermarket. They really put some thought into what they put out on the shelves, and in general, their ingredients are pretty quality. And not only that, the Farm Boy house brand is really good. I've never bought a Farm Boy, product, the house brand product, that I've been disappointed in. On the flip side of that, I've never bought a Compliments product that I haven't had to throw out after tasting it. So, there's good and there's bad. That's been done a couple times, Paul, and it's kind of a fun way to do it. Like I'd set a goal, or only buy things I can pick up at the gas stations on the way home or something, if I ever went out. So that was kind of my first thing, is just, it's important to cook what you like to cook, but also you need to be able to cook with what you can put your hands on, and that's a really important part of it. And I'll tell you, while I do advocate the best ingredients you can lay your hands on, it's the intent. It's the intent that matters. It's the cooking that you do for the people that you care about that makes all the difference in the world. I would take I'd take a Kraft single slam between two pieces of Wonder Bread and grilled up for me by somebody who really cared about me and was making it for me over any dish in a restaurant that was prepared with somebody I don't even know. So I'm just gonna read the chat here. Okay, I know, I agree. Okay, so not all supermarkets are the same. I think they kind of are, actually. Anyway, I don't know. Can Farm Boy be an exception? The best of the lot? Anyway, I shop at Farm Boy a lot. Okay, so that was the first part of it. The second part of it is, with quality ingredients, not every dish has to be super complicated. And if you spend time on these dishes, and I was starting off to say that we're not restaurant cooks, we're not chefs. That's okay. You don't need to be. But you can. Like this dish we're going to make tonight, and we might as well go through the ingredients now. Let's have a look here. The ingredients here are really simple, and I have ingredients that I quite like for this dish, but with a little bit of practice, and not even a lot of practice, you can make this dish as well as a 3-star Michelin chef. You can. You know, it just takes a little bit of practice. And you're not going to be able to make every dish like a Michelin 3-star chef, especially like someone like Thomas Keller, who does incredibly complex and inventive things with food, and he's a genius for sure. But you can make this dish. You can make this dish as good as Thomas Keller could make it. You can do just as well as he can. And you can cook it for the people that you really care about, and they'll love it. So let's go through I think it's going to be a short night, guys, because this actually doesn't take a lot of time to do. But we're going to go through it anyway. So we have, of course, guanciale. And this has become a lot more available now. And it's not really a specialty ingredient anymore. It used to be that restaurants would buy up all the guanciale. So it used to be really hard to get. And I don't know if it's because restaurants are just not serving as much food or making as much food. But you can get it pretty much anywhere. Any good butcher will have this. You probably won't find this in the supermarket. Farm Boy doesn't have it. And there really is no substitute. I wouldn't substitute pancetta for this. Or certainly not bacon. Those are just different products. But if you can lay your hands on this, it keeps forever. Buy a chunk of it, keep it in the fridge, and you're good to go. So this is, for those of you who don't know what guanciale is, it is a cured pork cheek. It's not smoked or anything like that. It's just cured. So like bacon and pancetta are both cured, and then pancetta is lightly smoked, and bacon's heavily smoked. Guanciale is not. So it has wonderful, and you can see it's very fatty, and it just has a wonderful texture, and you can do so many amazing things with it. So there you go. But widely available now. We have pecorino cheese, which also you can get anywhere. I've had this around for a little while now, but I always have pecorino in the fridge, always. So that's the other thing too, is I can whip this up any night because I always have these ingredients in the fridge. I always have guanciale, pecorino. I have, and again, peppercorns. Not everybody has a pepper store close to them. It's actually not that close to me either, but not everybody has a favorite pepper store. Use whatever peppercorns you can find. Don't buy pre-ground pepper, but any peppercorn you can get is going to be better than already ground pepper. So use what you can. If you Telecherry peppers, which are from India, again, widely available. You can get them anywhere. Any supermarket has them. You can't get the Cam Pot ones everywhere, but Telecherries are, they taste a little bit different. I prefer these, but these aren't better than Telecherry. They're just a little different. By the way, most of the peppercorns you get, like I have my, where are my other ones here? Maybe I don't have them. Oh, more Cam Pot. Wait, no, hang on. These are like, oh no, I don't have them. Okay, never mind. I thought I had regular peppercorns. Mostly they come from Vietnam. I don't have any, but I thought I did. Those are my backup ones, but I don't know where they are. So, and I have a good quality pasta here. Now, again, if you are shopping in a supermarket, get Desheko. It comes in a blue box. Don't buy Barilla. I've tested both now. They cost the same, and Desheko is way better. It's a really, really good quality pasta. It is everywhere. You can buy it at Walmart. This is Rumo, which I quite like. And this is like an artisan pasta, and it's like $1 or $2 or more a box, but it's not going to break the bank. It's like $4 instead of $2. So definitely you get what you pay for with pasta, and it doesn't cost a lot. And again, these are the ingredients. Like these ingredients here, these are the best in the world, right? This is the wonderful thing about cooking is, you know, there are lots of fancy things in the world. There are fancy cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and I'm never going to own or drive a Ferrari, and I shouldn't because I'm incredibly reckless sometimes behind the wheel. But I'm never going to do that. However, I can eat food prepared with the absolute best ingredients in the world that, you know, you can't get better than this. Doesn't matter whether you're, who's that guy? Elon Musk. He can't buy a better peppercorn than this, right? So enjoy these small luxuries. This is where you can take advantage of certain things. So those are the 4 ingredients, and there's only 4. So any questions on our ingredients before I start sort of throwing this thing together? Am I overly philosophical tonight? I feel like I might be, but it's just kind of the mood I'm in. Okay. And if Spencer's watching, I think I synced up the sound properly. I did a test earlier with the recording, so hopefully that's working. Okay, so now let's do a little bit of prep, and we're gonna do the pepper first, because I learned a little trick from Jamie Oliver of all people. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grind our pepper. You can obviously do this in a pepper mill, but I just don't have the patience for pepper mills. They take forever, and so many cranks to get out as much pepper as you need, and a mortar and pestle is like instant. Like to grind this much pepper in a pepper mill would take like 5 minutes, and I'm done. There we go. Now, because for this particular dish, and also for carbonara, I like it to have a solid pepper punch. You know, there's aren't too many flavors in this dish, and pepper's one of them. And the peppercorn husks don't have as much pepper flavor as the rest of the peppercorn, the inside. So all you do is grab a strainer, and we're just going to sift it, almost like flour. Now I'll still save this for something else. I'll like, this would be good to like crust a steak with or something like that. It is definitely not wrong to toast peppercorns first. I'm just not going to tonight. Okay, so you can see what's left is like the little husky bits, and I'll slap that onto a strip loin or something, put it on the barbecue later. And then we have our wonderful punchy pepper here, which we're going to use tonight. So, a little trick, but it makes a difference. And as I said, I mean, one of the wonderful things about Italian cooking is there are very few ingredients. They all play a central role, and so it's important to have good ones. We are going to have to grate some cheese. We're going to do that. I'm just going to like, this is like my weeknight cooking. I didn't really see the need to prepare everything in advance tonight, so you guys can just do this with me. In terms of, I'm making enough here for 2, because there's 2 of us. How much pecorino you use is just a matter of taste. In fact, all of these ingredients is a matter of taste. And this is a wonderful thing too. It's a wonderful dish actually for experimenting, from sort of breaking away from the recipe and the measurement thing. Because as you prepare this dish over and over, and you will, you'll get a sense for how much pecorino you like in your Alla Gricia, and how much guanciale you like, and how much pepper you want to put in. So for me, I like it cheesy, so I'm going to use that much cheese. I don't know if you guys can see, but that's kind of how much cheese I have. That's probably about 2 ounces, I bet, of cheese, pecorino, maybe a little bit less, And I'm going to grate some over top, so we're going to save that for later. We got our cheese. Now we're going to prep the guanciale. I'm just going to turn the water back on. Oh, that's the other thing I want to show you. So when we get into the technique part of this, there is no ratio, Rebecca, that needs to be adhered to. It's purely taste. The only part of this dish where like a ratio or technique comes into play, and I'm just about to talk about it, is how much pasta water you mix in with your guanciale, and I'll show you guys when we do that, just to emulsify the sauce. So, and we've talked about cooking pasta before. I want to show you guys how much water I'm using, because we need the starch from the pasta water to emulsify the sauce. And if I did this in a giant, like the way everybody says, have a huge pot of water on a rolling boil, there won't be any starch in the pasta water, or very little. So I have a big pot, but I don't know if you can see, like, there's not a lot of water in here. There's enough to cook the pasta and give me good starchy water, and that's it. So I want to show you guys that. Also, this is it's relatively heavily salted. There's probably at least a tablespoon of salt in that, which is also important. So we're going to get that going, heating up while we prep the guanciale. So the only things you have to know about guanciale is, there's two things. And I'm going to grab about that much of it for tonight. I like guanciale, so I'm going to use a fair bit here. Okay, so guanciale is pig cheek, and there's two things I like to do, and I do this for both carbonara and, well, pretty much anytime I use this stuff, actually. So I don't know if you guys can see, on this side here is the pig skin. Oh, there we go, just focused up. Right there, you want to take that off. It's not particularly desirable to eat, and it doesn't render out very well, so just take it off. Now you can save this, you can throw that in next time you make stock or something, use it for that, but I don't want it in my dish tonight. And then the other thing too is guanciale always comes with a backside that's heavily peppered. And this is part of the curing process, and it's not wrong to leave it on, but I like to control how much pepper is in my dish. A little bit of a control freak that way. Also, I don't know, this probably isn't the best pepper in the world. I have no idea how bitter it tastes, and so I'm just gonna like take it off. I'm sure as a curing, I may leave a little bit there. I'm sure as a curing agent it's fine. But as I said, maybe I'm a control freak, but I I don't want that in my dish. And in order to cut this up, we're going to cut it into, now you can cut your guanciale a bunch of different ways, but you don't want to cut it too thin. If you cut guanciale too thin, it crisps up and it loses the juicy interior, which makes it so amazing to eat. So I'm going to do something like, I'm just going to split this guy in half. I guess these are technically called lardons. I don't know the origin of the word, except maybe it's got lard on it, but I'm pretty sure that's not it. But anyway, they're kind of like fat matchsticks, so I'm just going to cut it up like that. There we go. So I don't know if you guys can see the size of the pieces. I mean, these are pretty good chunks, right? You could go, well, you could go a little smaller than that, but as I said, I like to have it chunky. And again, this is something you can make your own. The other way I cut this too is you can cube this. Like I could cut this into like 2 pieces like that. In fact, I may take some of the bigger pieces down, like you. But mostly, I'm pretty happy with this. You can cut those guys up. Okay, so let me put that somewhere away, out of the way. Okay. Any questions on guanciale and how we cut this up? No? Okay. So, let's see if I can actually time this right tonight. So don't rush through this. It's totally okay to just cook your pasta first, and then cook your guanciale first, because it can just sit and you can bring it up to temperature after. I'm gonna basically do things kind of at the same time because I know the timing. But what you want to do? Oh, let's talk about pans too. So for Thank you for subscribing, Natalie. Okay. I don't know if Natalie's in stream or not. I just got a notification. I'm going to turn this off a sec. Let's talk about pans. So for all of the pasta dishes that I talked about, for cacio e pepe, pasta alla Gricia, and carbonara, not so much a matriciana, but for those three, this is aluminum, okay? So there's two kinds of cookware, and so for example, like you have a spectrum. Cast iron pans are amazing at retaining heat, and that can be really important. Like when you want to sear a steak and you lay a cold steak into a pan, you don't want the pan to cool down. So you want that pan to have a lot of thermal mass so that when you lay a big steak in it or a big piece of meat, excuse me, it doesn't cool down and you maintain your cooking temperature. And you run the gamut, like the triple all-clad ply stuff kind of tries to do the best of both worlds. But this is straight up aluminum. This is actually a non-stick wok. But the reason aluminum is important is exactly the opposite. It cools off very quickly. Doesn't retain heat. And I don't want, when you're cooking these dishes, you want to be able to, when you lift the pan off the fire, you want it to cool down quickly, because it's important to you maintain control over your temperature when you're making these dishes, especially when it comes to a dish like carbonara, where when you put your egg cheese mixture in the pan, if it's too hot, it's going to scramble the eggs. And while it'll still taste great if you do that, most people when they make carbonara like the super silky egg texture. So it's important that when you're cooking carbonara, when you take the pan off the heat, that it cools down very quickly. And in fact, I think when we did the carbonara episode, and what I tell people make it for the first time is, I actually just move it into a cold pan and start heating that pan up. So I'm guaranteed my eggs aren't going to scramble. But in this particular case, we are going to go with our aluminum wok, and we want our guanciale in right from the get-go. You don't want to throw this into a hot pan because your guanciale won't render out enough fat if you do that before it crisps up. And we really want to render out a lot of the fat, because that's going to give us the base of our sauce. Not to mention, it tastes amazing. So we're going to let this go. And I figure I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes. I'm going to give my guanciale a head start. By the way, if you're doing this at home, don't throw it on at the same time as your pasta, because you'll end up rushing. It's not tricky to time, but the first couple times you do it, you're going to end up rushing, and that won't be any fun. Like, take your time. You can cook your guanciale first and your pasta second. Okay, having said that, I am going to throw the pasta in. I think, yeah. I discovered, it's kind of silly, but I have these little, they're like restaurant flasks for wine, but I use them for holding liquids. But 2 servings of pasta fits perfectly in the neck of the bottle. So, okay, that's not even ready yet. That's too high already. Any questions about any of this so far? Is this making sense to everybody? My plates are in the oven, by the way. My mouse out. I'm just eyeballing the pasta water, waiting for it to come back up. Okay. So pasta's in. I will poke it down in a sec. My favorite combo Serena, that is a very tough question. Favorite, wow. I don't want to cop out and say I like them all for different reasons, but I kind of do. I really like, so I'm going to qualify it slightly. Hang on, just making sure my pasta goes down. There we go. I'm going to qualify it slightly. I'm not allowed to qualify? Okay, well, I'm going to think for a sec then. I'm really torn, and I'll tell you what my thought process is. I really like the challenge, a technique point of view, of cacio e pepe, because it's just 3 ingredients, and it's a wonderful thing when that dish comes together, and you make this beautiful, creamy sauce out of nothing but pasta and a little bit of pasta water and the cheese. When you pull that off and your cheese doesn't curdle and stick to the bottom and get stringy, like there's so many things that can go wrong. Oddly, I think there's more things that can go wrong with cacio e pepe than can go wrong with carbonara. And when you pull that off, not only does it taste amazing, it's incredibly satisfying. It's really fun to do. But I think my first love is I'm gonna have to go with carbonara, I think, because first of all, I love carbonara, and carbonara is an incredible dish because it kind of goes everything from like, you can make a really, you can make a fancy carbonara, right? You can use like a long pasta and twirl it up and do the little presentation. I'll show you guys that. We're going to do that tonight, and do a really elegant presentation. And it also, of course, tastes amazing. But you can also whip up a carbonara with like a mezzo rigatoni. So mezzo rigatoni is it's a tube-shaped pasta, but it's like short rigatoni. It's literally half rigatoni, and that you can whip that up, and that's not as elegant. You can just eat it with a fork or a spoon out of a bowl, and it tastes really great too. Also very satisfying to make. So I think for me, I'm gonna have to go with carbonara. I think so. It's a very close call. Oh yeah, well I don't know. Okay, there's a lot of passages I like. I don't know what to tell you. They're all good. I love them all. I think of all of the pasta dishes, I spent the longest working on carbonara, trying to get it right. So maybe that's partly why I have a soft spot for it. Okay, 8 minutes on the pasta, and well, I don't think it is. Okay, I don't think flavor is the least important thing. All of the dishes we talked about are all in the little blue book, so I already love the flavor of all of them. So I think the flavor is kind of a given. All of the pasta dishes I make, I think, taste fantastic. So there. I mean, I don't. Rebecca, I have made every single carbonara mistake you can make. God, when I first started making carbonara, I was putting cream in it. Oh no, that was Alfredo. I don't think I ever put cream in carbonara. I scrambled my eggs a million times. I started making carbonara with bacon instead of guanciale because I didn't know any better. And then I switched to making it with pancetta, which was a slight improvement, but still wrong. And then I discovered guanciale, and I got that part down. I scrambled the eggs, and you can make carbonara with either just egg. So I made it both ways, and neither's wrong. It's quite elegant to make it with just egg yolks, but you can just crack an egg in too. I made it with cheap supermarket eggs at the beginning, rather than spending a little extra on good eggs, and of course, that made a big difference. What other mistakes can you make with carbonara? I think I made them all. I put the dish together in the wrong order a few times, although there are different orders you can put it together, but I've done it completely wrong. Okay, so you can see our guanciale is rendering out beautifully and getting crisp here. So what we're going to do now is a little trick. So our guanciale is done, and I don't want to cook this. I don't want to cook this anymore. So now it's time to start our sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of our pasta water. And this does two things. First of all, it starts our emulsification for our sauce, which is really important. It also stops the cooking of the guanciale. So now I don't have to worry about overcooking it. I'm now into the thickening up part of this and the sauce making part of it. And you'll see as we go. So I'm just gonna now I'm gonna cook off some of the water until I get exactly the consistency that I want. I'm actually going to take, so because we're going to throw the pasta in and pretty wet, like I just toss it in straight out of the pot, we're going to take this down a little bit on the dry side and then cook it up. And then bring it back up with the pasta water down. Remember, we're cooking our pasta al dente in the pot, and we're going to finish it in this pan here. So we'll have full control over the final doneness and texture of the pasta. About 4 minutes, so again, turn this down a bit. I want some more, I can tell already I want some more water. And this is just something you'll learn kind of as you go. You can also, I'm actually moving a bit slow tonight. When you get good at this, like you can drop your pasta, start the guanciale at the same time, and you can have this on the table in 12 minutes. No, 15 minutes. Take my heat up a bit. And what's happening here is the starch in the pasta water is helping the water emulsify with oil, which is going to give us nice creamy sauce. This is a little bit wet right now, so I'm going to cook off a bit of the water. And you can't screw this part up because you're not going to boil off your fat, right? All you're going to do is continually boiling off your water, but the starch will stay behind. So this part can't really screw it up. If you don't add enough water, or if you add too much, just boil it off so you have the consistency you want. I think this is going to be about right. Any other questions? We still good? We're still good on questions here? Just gonna check my pasta. All right, 2 minutes on the pasta. You're doing well tonight. And you can see, I don't know, can you guys see this thickening up? Like you can see as I run the spoon through it now, it's not coming back right away. This is about the consistency I want, so I'm actually turn this down just a little bit. Almost there, hon. We talked about Gricia last week. Gubby brought that up, and I did some research into it, and I'm probably going to challenge accepted, Rebecca. I'm going to leave Cucina for next week. I did a little bit of research on it. It looks like a really fun dish, and there's a super cute story about the origin of the dish, which I will share with you next week. I just didn't have time to put all the ingredients and all the techniques together for this week. And I wanted to do this, so there you go. Okay, we got 1 minute. Okay, good. So I've actually got the timing just about exactly where I want to be. So the sauce now is exactly, so you can see how it's like not going together. I got a nice creamy sauce here. So that is working out well, and the pasta is almost done. Just a couple more seconds. Okay. All right, I'm bring our pasta over. I'm probably going to fog up the camera. Hopefully not too badly. But I want to show you guys this part. And we're just going to take the pasta straight. I'm going to leave it wet. You don't need to drain this. Just right out of the pan into the other pan, or right out of the pot into the pan here. And now we're going to get this going. And again, so this is where the shape of the pan becomes important. Oh, hang on. Let's see if I not fog this up. Let's move me over there. Oh well. I knew that was going to happen. Hopefully that unfogs in a sec. So again, I don't know if you guys can see, and it's a little harder to see now, but I've kept my consistency. I'm even going to add just a little bit of pasta water here to help this cook along. This will also help with the cheese, which is about to go in. Now our cheese goes in. Give that a stir. There we go. And you can see the cheese now is just going to melt into the sauce. And just flip it around. Oh, it smells so good. And again, now our pepper goes in here. Now I'm not going to use all the pepper we sifted out because it's a lot. I'll probably top it with a little bit of fresh. That's our pepper. And I don't know if you guys can see. No, Rebecca, that's kind of unique to carbonara, making the cream first. This one you just do it in the pan. And I'm actually really happy with the way this is looking just already. So that goes off. Let's get this plated up. Plates are in the oven. They're gonna be hot. Ooh, they are hot. Yeah, really hot. Little tip, we're not doing carbonara tonight, by the way, but when you're doing carbonara, don't overheat your plates, because there's nothing more heartbreaking than making a perfect carbonara, getting everything just so, and then having the egg scramble because you put it in a bowl that was too hot. So, okay. Then we're gonna plate this up. I've got my kitchen tweezers here, very handy. And we're gonna string this, and we're gonna twirl it into a ladle like this. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. And this is not this is one of those little restaurant kind of things. What am I looking for to call it done? That's a really good question. I'm not exactly sure. There's just a sheen and a glisten to it that tells me it's ready to go. I think it just comes from having made this many, many, many times. Yeah, I wish I had a better way to say that. And of course, I'm just going to tuck my guanciale on top. Wow, that's a huge portion. I good thing Serena's hungry. Okay. So I like that for presentation. Serena doesn't like a ton of pepper, so for me, if this was for me, I would be doing a little more pepper over top. But let's give this just a grating of fresh cheese. Glossy, yes, glossy is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so have a look at this one, guys. Ooh, it's hot. There you go. This is before I take it off, but that is pasta alla Gricia. Now I'll come back and we'll taste test it in just a sec. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, however, having said that, now we are going to do Rob's weeknight plating with the rest of it. This is how I plate my carbonara when I'm hungry and in a hurry. And so for me, I like some fresh pepper over top of the whole thing. And I definitely want a little more cheese. Okay, considerably less elegant, but, oh, I need a fork. There we go. There you go, guys. And 7:40, man. I even, like, yammered on at the beginning, and we got this done. So, I'm going to give this a taste. Let's see where we're at. Yeah. It's really good, guys. I was actually talking to Penny about this. It's amazing because this is basic. I mean, what's that? What's up? Yeah, it's very tasty. Nick, this would be a great dish for you to learn how to make. I'll show you next time you're over. Maybe we'll do it together. Needs a pop of color. Well, unfortunately, I can't think of anything I would do to add color to this. I'll get you next week for your Gricia. But I was talking to Penny actually about this dish because it doesn't do this dish justice to call this an eggless carbonara. But essentially that's what this is. This is just carbonara without eggs. But to me the dish is completely different. One sec. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk for a sec. Wow. I'm gonna pick that corn chili up. Sorry guys, this is really good. But it's amazing how the addition or subtraction of one ingredient makes such a huge difference. To me, this is a completely different dish. It's got a different texture, a different flavor profile. It's not as rich as a carbonara. It's certainly not rich because there's a ton of fat in it. This is not a low-cal dish. But it's a full-on dish in its own right, and this is a much older dish than carbonara too. Like this goes way back, like way back. And it's a really good dish. Oh, good. Okay, I'm gonna stop the watch Rob eat part of this. Although let's just watch the carbonara. It's still good to see, right? Like, oops, there we go. Any questions about this dish or any of the other ones we talked about before we call it a night? As I said, next week we're doing coxinha, and which I'm really looking forward to making. So next week, guys, is definitely going to be watch Rob follow a recipe again or whatever, which I think will be fun. I mean, I honestly, I kind of like the episodes we do where you guys get to explore with me, or we can do something together. I'm figuring it out. Yeah. I love this. I love it. Sifting the pepper makes a big difference. You got a nice peppery punch to this dish. And again, of course, that's to taste. You know, like not everybody likes the huge pepper in your face flavor. But I do, and this is how I make it. You guys can make it your own. Yeah. Oh, nachos will be the week after. So we have our next two planned. I really want to do nachos for you as well, because the other thing I realized today, I almost did nachos tonight. I want to show you guys how to make that super silky smooth queso nacho cheese sauce, which we did for Crunchwrap Supremes when we did that. I showed you, but that was Crunchwrap Supremes was a long time ago. So that's worth revisiting. And we get to do a little molecular gastronomy for that one because we get to use sodium citrate, which is fun. But I think that's it. I think we have the next two streams planned, and I'm gonna throw the order up in the air because if I don't get fully onto Coxinha, then we will do nachos next week. So either or, I'll leave it a mystery until you guys tune in next week. Gotta have a little bit of a surprise, but that's it. That's all I got for you guys tonight. So everybody have an amazing evening. I'm gonna finish my dinner, and I will hang around for like a couple minutes for any questions. But if we don't have any questions, I will see you guys next week. We'll watch chat while I eat. Dominican food? Okay, Serena, can you write that down, screenshot it? You know what to do? Doubles. We haven't done doubles yet. Doubles is one of my favorite things to make. And I haven't made it in ages. Our nanny from a million years ago was from Trinidad. And just an absolutely wonderful person. And I used to make doubles for her because she missed them from home. She didn't get back all that often. And anyway, doubles are absolutely fantastic. Really easy to make. They taste amazing. It's a wonderful street food. So now we have 3 streams. I totally forgot about doubles. Spencer, thank you. That is going to be so much fun. Wait till you guys see how easy doubles are to make and how amazing they taste. Okay, well, 3 weeks planned, guys. I got a good dinner here. Cheers to everybody. Thanks for joining me. I love doing this for you guys. I will continue to do it. And I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Cheers, guys. Bye.